Donald Trump caught in a lie? Well, who would have ever thought? Let's hope he finally gets in trouble for it. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. So, in case you've been living in a sensory deprivation chamber for the past decade, and if so, lucky you, give me a referral. In case you're out of the loop, Donald Trump is a liar. Like a big liar. Like a big fat liar who wears so much self-tanner he borders on wearing blackface. And look, as a man with the skin tone of Casper the Friendly Ghost, I wish I could tan, but I do not want to look like him. Anyway, Donald Trump lies. Constantly. We've been hearing his lies for well over a decade in this country. In 2017, for example, Politico found that Trump lied 71 times in his first 82 days in office. When he left the White House in 2021, the Washington Post ran a piece that determined he'd lied well over 30,000 times in 4 years. Somehow that seems tame compared to when living in it real time. Trump's lies were at the heart of at least two of his criminal indictments. The first for his making false statements to the FBI after he stole classified documents and stored them in the bathroom of his Mar-a-Lago golf course. And of course, when he was indicted for election interference in Georgia following the 2020 presidential election, which he lost, and he still lies about. Earlier this week, Trump even said this about the war in Ukraine. Take a look.
And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down. But they chose not to do it that way. And President Biden, in all fairness, he doesn't have a clue. What he was so bad.
Yeah, that last one even has Republican allies turning on the liar-in-chief. For more details, check out our other videos here on the channel. Trump lies so much that medical experts have begun to question his sanity, or at least his cognitive ability. The New York Times ran a story in October 2024 that used a computer analysis of Trump's speeches and found that his language skills had declined over the years. He speaks at the level of a 9-year-old child, and his ability to distinguish lies from facts or make complex statements has receded in the past decade. The same article included interviews with friends, family, and associates, all of whom testified that Donald Trump has severe cognitive decline. Medical experts have claimed for years that Trump shows signs of dementia. Whether he's delusional, has Alzheimer's, sundowners, or late-stage syphilis, Trump keeps making up falsehoods and passing them off as truth. Just today, he tossed out another whopper on Air Force One, claiming that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy refused to meet with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. There was one problem. Zelenskyy did meet with Bessent, and the whole thing was caught on video. Have a look.
And then Scott Bessent actually went there and was treated rather rudely because essentially they told him no, and Zelenskyy was sleeping and unavailable to meet him. He traveled many hours on the train, which is a dangerous trip. And we're talking about the Secretary of the Treasury. He went there to get a document signed. And when he got there, he came back empty. They wouldn't sign the document. But for Europe, they pay back their money. It's a loan.
Mr. President, right on
But it's not enough that we
shared values, we have shared security commitment.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Дуже дякуємо за цей візит. Сьогодні це перший міністр з команди президента Трампа, і ми дуже вдячні за це.
You know, the question at this point isn't if Trump lies, it's does he even realize he's doing it? Is this all one big ploy designed to brainwash his weak-minded supporters into believing things that are not true? That was a strategy proposed by his former advisor Steve Bannon, and one that appears to work on some of his voters. They now only believe what comes out of Trump's mouth, not even their own eyes and ears. But the lies seem too random and too numerous to be a strategy. If Trump did occasionally tell the truth, it would, in theory, make it harder to pick out the lies. Another theory also springs to mind, and one that would go a long way toward explaining his co-presidency with Elon Musk. Trump really is in mental decline and has entrusted decision-making to Musk. If that thought turns your stomach, it simply means that you're still a rational person. Rather than step down from office or rather than rely on other elected officials to govern, Trump's judgment is so bad at this point that he'll trust a South African leech attached to his buttocks with our nation's secrets. It's time for everyone in this country, especially Trump's cabinet and our representatives in Congress, to ask real questions about Trump's sanity and cognitive ability. After all, part of the reason Joe Biden dropped out of the race last year was due to pressure from trusted associates who questioned his mental acuity in his old age. Mainstream reporters may have trouble addressing Trump's mental health. Here at Occupy Democrats, we don't. It's time for a real conversation in this country about our president's mind. Our future may depend on it. I'm David Reddish.